Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining with us tonight to talk about some information that has affected and I think still affecting our families and our friends around the country, not just in our neighborhood, in our local community, but around the country. And this is that subject that talks about money. My name is Ricky Pitts, and I'll be your host for tonight. And on behalf of Bessie Harris, the other regional vice president that's joining with us tonight, and our entire team, thank you for taking time out of, I'm sure, a very busy day and week with all the holidays coming up to sit in with us tonight to learn about some information that can truly be life-changing. And I'm going to begin by talking a little bit about who we are. Even though some of you may have heard of the company, I want you to hang with us for a few minutes. I think we're going to share some information tonight that's going to be a little bit different than you may have heard before. Primerica really helps families get properly protected. That's number one, so they can leave a legacy. Number two, start saving for the future. That is a place that we're going to be in for the rest of our lives, and it's important that we save for that place. Then learn how to become debt free. Debt is an enemy for a lot of people. They're doing all they can to get out of debt and they just can't seem to make it work. Then the last thing is earn additional income. People are doing some of everything now, working at Walmart, working in their contract, worked on the side, trying to generate some more income. And we do all of these things through a concept called how money works. And what we've learned down through the years that people don't have any problem working for the money. That's not the problem. The concern is, well, how does the money work? I get paid every 7 days. I get paid every 2 weeks, one time per month. And many say that when they get that check, it's almost gone before they get it. So they need a way to bring it back into focus. Now, what I just showed you, we cannot do all of that by ourselves. Primerica by themselves had to have partnerships like Rocket Mortgage for those that are trying to get prepared to buy a home. Then below that, you see all these investment firms. To my far left, you see Voya, you see TruStage on the bottom, you see Capital Group, you see Equitable, you see Fidelity to the far right middle, Corebridge, Investco, Franklin Templeton, Equitable. All these firms are there to as our partnerships so we can show families how to build a solid financial house. And at the end of the day, that's the whole objective, is to build a solid financial house. Now, the next thing I want to show you, and I want to just deal with this real quick here. There's a common misunderstanding that the average and ordinary people just simply cannot achieve financial independence or financial security. And ladies and gentlemen, that just couldn't be further from the truth because they can with a plan to certain degrees. Everybody's not going to have the same level of independence. Somebody might have, say, level one, somebody level two, three, and four, and five. But once you get to a certain level where you'll never be able to spend all that you've accumulated over the years, now it gets to the point to where it's for the next generation. It's generational wealth. It's legacy planning. And that's also very important. Now, there's a problem with money. And the problem with money is money just does not come with an instructional manual. And what I mean by that, everything else in life, you can go to Amazon and order just about anything. I don't care how small it is, it has a little bit of small instructional piece along with it. Folded up in the paper. I bought a money clip just to hold my debit cards and so on and so forth. And that thing has instructions, it has a lifetime guarantee. And all you got to do is put your cards in. There's not a whole lot to do, but everything has that, but money. And it had gotten us in a real situation. This guy right here that you see on the screen, I want you to think about him as being 65 years old. He started working at 25. That's 40 years ago. But this is what the stats say for many people in this category. 60% of Americans have saved less than $50,000 toward retirement. 36% don't even have $10,000. And that another important stat is that more than 60% of Americans say They worry more about running out of money than they worry about the graveyard because they know just seeing their friends, going to where they go at that age and visiting people, they see that they can't depend on a lot of family to help them out all the time. And I hate to say this tonight, they can't even depend on the children to help them out because the children is in a pickle as well. And so that's because money don't have an instructional manual. Something else I want you to look at about this, if this man had started at age 25 and prioritized his savings, because when you don't do it, there's a real high cost of waiting. Had he started at 25 years old when he first started a real good job, putting aside $200 per month, by the time he hit 65 years old, he would have had almost $1 million. If he waited, however, until he was 26 years old, he's going to save $2,400. But that 2,400 on this side is going to cost him 83,000 at 65 because he would have had 943 and he has 860. Put it off for 5 years, and that $12,000 is going to cost him in the end $350,000, ladies and gentlemen. I almost hate to show you the next procrastination point of not prioritizing, but I want to show it to you. Had he put it off for 15 years, he would have saved $36,000. 36,000, he started at age 40, and by the time he's 65 years old, 225,000 versus 943. That's going to cost him $717,000. Now, granted, 225,000 is still a lot of money at 65 years old, because at that point, when we hit 65 years old, we got a whole lot more time behind us than we do in front of us. So we still can leave a good legacy for our families should something happen premature. The next important thing I want to show you that's important is this thing called debt. And not having an instructional manual, this is one piece right here that can really cause a snowball effect. Let's take a look at it. The average American has over $100,000 in consumer debt. And of the 61% that have credit cards, 23% go deeper into credit card debt every single month, with 14% just not making a payment. I can't make it. And it doesn't make them lose sleep at night, because once they've missed payments for 5 times or 6 times or 7 times, they say, well, what's the use? Because I just can't, I don't have it. And then here we are now in the holiday seasons, and the credit cards have certain limits. And people are about this month, the month of November, really October, November, December, they're going to go real deep in debt and spend all of 2020, the next year, 2025, 2026, 2027, trying to get out of debt. And we want to encourage you tonight, don't allow that to happen. Now let's talk about an instructional piece that they could have had or should have had years ago, and the difference it would have made. This is called debt stacking. It's an old concept that's been around for a long time, but it still works. They got a retail card, credit card, car loan, credit card, one mortgage. They're paying $27.20 per month altogether. At some point, that retail card one is going to be paid out, and that $220, they're going to take it and add it to the $353 and send them the $573 per month. So now this card here is all gone. Let me get my red marker here. That's gone. They're going to send the other card $573 per month until it's gone. Once it's gone, they're going to take that $573, add it to the car loan, which right now is $551, add that $573 to it, send them $1124. Now the car is gone. Now they're going to take that $1124, add it to credit card number one, which is $303 per month, add that $1124 to it, send them now these two together, $1427 per month. Now that credit card is gone. Now they only have the mortgage left. They take that $1427, add it to the mortgage here, which is $1293, and send them now the entire $2720, which is where they started over here. They simply going to take all the money that was going here and roll it to the mortgage and send them the entire $2720. Now we're going to look at plan A. Plan A, if they don't do anything, they're going to be in debt for 23 more years, and they're going to pay $214,000 in interest alone. If they go to Plan B over here, they'll be out of debt here in 9 years at age 44. That's 14 years sooner. The question is, do you think financial companies want you to know how to pay them off years early? No, they don't want you to, they don't want us to know that, because they rather a man, woman, family be in debt for the balance of their days, and then go down and get the next generation and also get them in debt. That shouldn't be. That doesn't have to be, because what we're doing tonight is talking about money instructions, an instructional manual when it comes down to money. Now, here's another real big concern: protection. What I'm talking about now is generational wealth. I'm talking about leaving a legacy. If something were to happen, what are we going to leave the next generation to keep moving? I want you to look at this picture with me in your mind. Here's a father. His little girl is sitting on his knee. He's holding her little hand in his hand. But I want you to look at this stat. Nearly half, 48% of Americans don't have any life insurance at all. And more than 4 in 10 adults in this country report to not having any coverage, and some have coverage and they don't have enough. So they have enough to have a nice burial, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. And as time progresses, burials is what they call them, is going to cost a whole lot more than what they're costing today, because many funeral homes don't ever get that money, because many people don't have any life insurance at all. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean any disrespect. I don't mean to hurt anybody, but that's just not right. It's kind of selfish, if we think about it, not to cover ourselves and have people depending on us for financial support. It's really, really very selfish. Let's look at that. Let's look at that father and the mother and the little girl from a different light. You see, they're bringing home $3,500 per month per person. That looks pretty decent, right? That's $7,000 a month. But don't respond too quick. Look at how much money they're spending out. They got a mortgage, they got cards, they got cars, they got insurance, all that you see here. They're bringing in 7,000, but they're sending out 7,000. That goes back to the point I made earlier, that money does not come with an instructional manual. And as a result of that, people, when they start making more money, what do? They spend more money. When they was making, let's say, $10 an hour, they were making it pretty good. They went to $40 an hour, and they're spending $42 an hour because nobody really showed them that manual. And that's what we're talking about here tonight. Well, let's say all of a sudden he is no longer in the picture. Her income is $3,500. This is all she has coming in, but the bills are still $7,000. What's going to happen to that family? They might lose a mortgage. They got to pull the child out of, she has to, out of child care, and many other things. Lose one of the cars because they didn't have insurance in place. And let's talk about what people have. Now, I don't want to take too much time tonight, but I want to really spend a little time on this. I know I got about 17 more minutes here, so I'm going to try to zoom through this pretty quick. There's something called Index Universal Life. That's kind of like a new kid on the block. And in this case, they're paying $251 per month. She has $250 on her. Mary does. John has the same thing, $250 on him. At 65 years old, they're going to have $127,000 in the cash values. They could put that same $251 in the budget and put the same $250 on Mary, same thing on John, but they bought a term policy, a 30-year level term. So at 65 years old, they got to either renew it or let it go. Now the question is, why would I buy a policy for 30 years? I got to renew. Well, let's stay with us for a few minutes, and I think you would agree it's about a concept. Of that 251 right here, they're paying 88 of it for life insurance. That means they have $163 left over. They're going to put that 163 in a Roth IRA, getting a decent rate of return, and now they have $300,000 at 65 years old versus 127,000 over here. Now, what you want to know about Index Universal Life is it's a pretty confusing concept. They can borrow money from the insurance, they can borrow money from the policy, they can surrender the policy and just let it go and then take the money out if there's any money in. But there's real high surrender charges. Sometimes they got to put in 7,000 and then the surrender charges or is 6,000. So they only get out 1,000. I mean, I'm not playing joking with you. That's the way it works. Put in 10,000 until they put in 10, they can't get anything out. They go and try to get the money out. Now they only have, let's call it $2,000. It's incredible. Then they got to borrow out their own money. And they got all kind of concepts, try to mimic another concept, but at the end of the day, it's a modified version of traditional whole life, just modified. That's the truth. Now I want to show you another very important concept of why by term. It's something called the theory of decreasing responsibility. In the early years, the kids are young, the high debt, house mortgage. If somebody dies in the early years, it's going to be pretty devastating. But as they get older, the kids are going to be grown. As they get older, they got to have real cash, something they can use while they're living on top of the ground. Now you say, Rick, well, why would I buy a term? I still don't know why I should buy a term policy. Isn't it going to go up in 30 years? Yes, it is. Or in 20 years, or depending on the level of the term. Yes, it's going to go up in 20, 30 years. But you're buying life insurance for today, not for 20 years, 30 years down the road. Now, here's what I mean. When the children are young, the children are children for a term. They're not children for 50 years. They're children for a period of time, then they are adults and they own their own. And you don't need life insurance for the benefit of going to college or eating at that point because they're working. The mortgage is going to be paid off. When time progresses, as we get older, we got to focus on cash money. You see, there are two things we have to always think about, ladies and gentlemen, and agents don't want you to think about this. They don't want to talk about this. One is this: dying too soon or living too long. Those are the two things we got to be concerned about as we get older: dying too soon or living too long. You see, the industry wants to sell another product. And I'm going to show you something here, how it works. They come in and they sell you a mortgage, they sell you some credit cards, installment loans, mutual funds, savings accounts, 401ks, more bank accounts, more life insurance, car, health, and home. Just a lot of more money. Spend money here, spend money here. Just money, money, money. Just sell a whole lot of products, but don't give a game plan. Don't give a system. Don't give them a strategy. And that's what this financial needs analysis is designed to do. It's a financial needs analysis. It serves as a financial GPS. Now, if we're going on a location, going to a destination, and we don't know how to get there, we need to have a GPS. Long gone are the days of getting an atlas and then spreading it out over the hood, getting a ruler, trying to chart it. You know, those days are long gone. We just put it in now, and it says turn here, turn there, turn there. Well, that's what a financial needs analysis will do for us financially, and that's what everybody needs to have that done, and it takes the guesswork out of the whole equation. Now, that brings us to another question. The question is, why do so many people fail when it comes down to that money? Here's why. Most people conform. They don't transform, they conform to this system. And they've been indoctrinated, they've been taught their entire life, I want you to get you a good job, get you a good government job, become a good employee. Well, the question is, how is that working out for our children and many of our colleagues? When I say our colleagues, let's say this guy right here is a counselor. He doesn't look too happy. Let's say this lady right here is an administrator. It's like she's saying, why am I here? Let's say this lady right here is a nurse, and she looks like she's traumatized. She just saw somebody came in the hospital and she can't believe what happened. Let's say this guy right here is a school teacher. He's saying, oh my goodness, children have really changed now, not like they used to be. And everybody can, on the call tonight, you know that kids are not like they used to be in these public schools and in private schools. And let's say this lady right here is a social worker, and she goes in people's home and got to be scared of dogs and don't know what she's going to see when she goes inside of that home. And this guy right here is a lawyer, and lawyers are everywhere now. And somebody came to him with a case, and he can't believe they want him to defend that. You mean you want me? And he has to defend that. And so people are well, they're not too happy with their jobs after spending all this money to go to college and found out they still have some money problems. This income is still a problem. Now, you may not believe this, and you may believe this, but many people with education, his 57% cannot put their hands on $1,000. If they had to, after working sometimes for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, with student loans of 20,000, 40,000, 70,000, 150,000, 200,000 of student loan debt. Something is not right about that picture. When spending that much money, working that long, and can't put their hands on $1,000. This is why it's so important that money has instructions, and it's so important that we go out and teach families, which is what we're doing now, how to get that under control. That's a bad feeling to do all that work, sweat and tears, staying up all night long, sometimes studying, and now here it is, can't find $1,000. I mean, that's just not right. The majority, 60% of Americans, you know how they live? They live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, every month they are stretching, trying to get to the very next month. And that shouldn't be. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this, I want to emphasize this, I want to be redundant. That ain't right. Something is not right about this system because the universities don't really teach practical ways of how money works. Okay, this is how you budget because I hate to say it, many of the professors, nobody taught them. And so they're just going through the motions of teaching the course, but not talking about the course of life. Now, I want to show you 5 reasons people are looking for a way to make more money. One, many of them just don't like their job. Number 2, they like their job, but they just don't make enough money. I was talking to someone today and last week that liked their job, but the job just don't pay them enough money. The third thing is financial education. They sick and tired of working so hard and just can't figure out this money thing. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not complicated, but it's common sense, but common sense ain't always common knowledge. That's why these kind of things that we're doing now is so very important. The fourth one, they love helping people. So much so that where they almost give you the shirt off their back. And then the fifth one, they want to go into business for themselves. They're tired of working for somebody else, clocking in and clocking out. And so when you look at these 5, I want you to think about something. Think about which one of these apply to you, if 2 or 3 or 4, all 5 apply to you. And if that is the case, it's important then to be willing to do something different and not do the same thing over and over again, because all of us know to do the same thing and expect something different, that just leads to a lot more frustration and aggravation and everything else. We've got to be willing to change. We're coming up on a brand new year. Many folks are already and have already made New Year's resolutions. 2025, I'm coming alive. They've already started the rhymes and rhythms and so on and so forth about 2025. But it's going to take more than a rhyme or a rhythm. It's going to take some action. It's going to take some decisions. It's going to take, in many cases, reinvention, a paradigm shift. And if we're willing to do that, we can change. We can make a huge difference before the year comes in. I want to show you some examples now as I get ready to bring this to a close. And this part that I'm going to show you now might not interest everybody on the call tonight, and I understand. But what we're going to show you tonight is a way to generate more income and learn as you earn on a part-time basis. Now, this is not for everybody because it's not just easy to come over here and make $100,000 a year. It takes effort, takes work like anything else, but it's worth it. So let me show you some examples of folks that came in part-time first and they moved on from there. This person right here was in some kind of sales and he came in, just made $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month, I think all of us know would change a lot of people's life. This other guy came in, he was I'm sorry, she was a social worker, as I talked about earlier, making over 30,000 a year part-time. Now listen, she's not making that much more than that as a full-time social worker, and they do a lot of work. They're some extremely good people. I mean, they help people, and they keep bring their work home with them. They love the people, the families that they serve, the clients. I think they call them customers, but that they serve. They love them. They fall in love with them, but they don't pay them enough money, and it's not right. This person right here was an engineer. He was real smart, but didn't make a whole lot of money. So he made about over 30,000 a year part time doing this. But let's look at those that decided to make a whole career change like I did. I just got tired of clocking in and clocking out. I didn't like the politics. Couldn't get promoted. Went to a guy, asked the guy when can I get promoted. He said in about 15 years. I gave the guy a 30-day notice after I got that 15-year statement come in. So here they went full time. This guy was already a registered representative doing investments, making 117,000 a year now. This guy right here was a shift leader, plant work, 124,000 a year. This guy here was a financial counselor, but he was a broke financial counselor. Now he's making $133,000 a year. And you might say, Ricky, what? I mean, that's going to probably cost a lot of money to do something like that. I mean, what's in it for me is the question you should really be asking. Number one, you get a great education on money, personal finance. Number two, flexibility. You don't hit nobody's time clock. You work from home. I'm at home now. All of you are probably at home right now as well, or traveling, driving with the cell phone. I hope you're not driving. You're sitting in the driver's seat, I hope, and watching this while somebody else is driving. But my point is, you don't have to go out and you do it from home. The third thing is you can do it part-time, and it could be a plan B. It could be a bridge to go full-time. Now, why is that so important? Because we all know that jobs are not stable anymore. They're not. And technology is going to replace a whole lot of jobs in the coming years. And we don't get ready for this, we're going to find ourselves in a real pickle as time progresses. Now, what do you have to do something like this part-time? And what does it cost me, Ricky? Well, look at this. Number one is 99, and I always say, I don't know why they didn't just say 100. I guess it's psychological. I don't know. But that's not for us. That's for your state application fee, your exam fee, your processing fee, your appointment fee. Some of you on the call are from Georgia, Alabama, I think Mississippi, I don't know, California. I don't know, all around the place on this call tonight. Fingerprints, that's going to take care of that. That would normally cost $413. You only pay $99. And then you got to pay $25 for your support system. Why? You got to prepare for a state exam, and we have a system that's going to get you ready for that exam. Now, also in addition to that, you get a cell phone discount for being a part of the company, your own website, on-demand training. If you did this on your own, it would cost you $105. You're paying $25. If you decide to get your investment license to do retirement programs, college funds, 401ks, well, look at this. That would cost you about $750. The company is going to pay for that. You don't pay that. They're going to take care of that for you. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing at all to stop you, if it's not, from joining part-time. Do it. If this is not something you want to do, we understand. It may be that you want to get the financial house in good order. If that's the case, get with Bessie, get with me, get with whoever invited you out tonight, and sit down one-on-one. I would encourage those that invited guests out tonight to call them tonight and just follow up to thank them for attending, and then also to schedule a one-on-one meeting. Hey, look, thank you so much. Y'all have a great rest of the week, a great Thanksgiving, a very Merry Christmas, and a prosperous New Year. We hope to see you again, hopefully, in the next meeting before the New Year comes in. Y'all take care and have a great rest of the night. Thank you very much.